So Tom is a body worker, and he's going to teach us today about what that means in regards to lymphatic drainage therapy and managing scars after surgeries. This video is not going to be just for breast implant illness ladies. This video is going to kind of touch upon a little bit of everybody. So hopefully everyone will be able to get something out of today. Tom is a former Marine, a husband, a dad, a busy guy, and he's really just so knowledgeable. So we're blessed to have him here today. So again, and I'm going to say it in the beginning, it's also on the screen. You can find Tom on Instagram. He does a lot of short how-to videos, which are awesome, at Bodyworker Tom, and also fullbodyfunction.com is his website. So reach out.
If anybody ever wants to direct message me and if with a question they can, it's totally fine. People do it all the time.
That's awesome. That's so nice for people to be able to do that. I know that that makes it easy for them. And
not that I know everything, but if I don't know the answer, maybe I can point you in the right direction.
Anybody who's willing to help, people are always appreciative. So, all right, so let's get started. So lymphatic drainage therapy. Can you give me a brief of like kind of what that is and who should be doing it and who shouldn't be?
Well, so lymph, first of all, is the water system of the body. So we have the blood system, the vascular system, and we have the water system of the body, the lymph. So lymphatic drainage is what our body does to help clean the water that our body generates from blood flow and from other things. It goes into what's called the interstitial space, which is like that space in between everything and the organs. And then it's all that water is slurped up by a system called the lymphatic system. And then that water is cleaned up from bacteria, toxicity, whatever it is, and then reintroduced back into the blood system, the vascular system. And then, eventually the vascular system has its own filtration system, the kidneys and other things, and cleans it out again. And then you eventually, it goes out into the world. So.
Okay, great. So ideally we want our lymph system flowing freely, correct?
Yes, because if it is not flowing freely, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems with disease because it is a major part of the immune system. There's very few diseases that don't have some sort of lymphatic component to it. So it's a very important system. It's often overlooked in its importance. But yeah, so super important.
Okay. So who should be doing lymphatic drainage?
So I know there's a lot of folks we're talking to today, and some of them are in the post-surgical category, whether you're post-surgical from an explant or whether you're post-surgical from maybe a C-section or some sort of other surgery. Lymphatic drainage is important for to do that post-surgically, but it's really can be important for almost anybody. You can have days where you feel kind of puffy, where maybe that's a signal to you that there's inflammation in the body. And that puffiness you feel is most likely the lymphatic system either in overdrive, where we have too much water and our body isn't able to handle it. So it's kind of backed up or stagnant. Or we have, a post-surgical category where you have lymphatic drainage. The lymph is nourishing or trying to be in repair in certain parts of the body. Mm-hmm. And it's moving towards the different places in the body where it gets filtered out and cleaned out and moved. So I don't want to say everybody needs to do it, but pretty much everybody needs to do it.
Okay.
There's some people it's more important for than others is probably the best way to say it.
Okay, fair enough. For the people who are post-surgical, is there a time frame where they should wait post-surgery to begin? And then is it too late, like say for me, who's 2 years post-explant, and also I'm about 8, well, I've had 4 surgeries on my abdomen. I've had 2 C-sections, 2 hernia surgeries, and diastasis repair. So I got a lot going on in my abdomen. Is it too late to do anything? So
no. It's not too late. I'll see women who are years and years out of some sort of surgery, and they'll have a little puddle or a swelling somewhere that's near an incision or around an incision, or, whatever. That, it's like, how come this never cleared up? How come it never healed? Well, maybe you had some stagnant lymph there, or some parts around your scar, your incision site, that weren't open enough for the lymph to flow through, or the vasculature to kind of clean out the area.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I feel like if this is my abdomen and this is like my scar area, it's almost like stuck. So I could
Yeah.
feel that, like below the scar feels differently than above the scar. So it's almost like you're saying, things can't flow freely through there.
Yeah, it can kind of feel like that. It almost looks like a tiny little shelf that happens. Some of that is from the scar too. So, when a scar happens in the body, you can think of the body when it repairs itself. It's like this overprotective mother. It's like, this is never going to happen again. And it'll put all this like crazy collagen lattice work all in, where it's trying to heal. And that part of your skin is denser than the area around it.
Okay.
And oftentimes that density will keep, and that tangledness of those fibers inside that scar will keep the lymph from flowing through it like it needs to, or
Okay.
even the nerves to operate like they need to.
Right. And
Sometimes,
we'll
like,
get into scars a little bit later, right?
right, like a hypoxia, or areas of the body that aren't getting enough oxygen because of circulation issues. Uh, that the brain reads that as numbness or tingling sometimes.
Okay.
So we get that area to open, get the fluid flowing through those areas, whether it's with lymph or other ways. Then you start to get that feeling back.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because my surgery on my abdomen was in January and I'm still numb and tingling. So it's a very strange feeling. It feels heavy, it feels tingly, numb. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so before we get into you showing me so that we can show the viewers how to
Mhm.
do some lymphatic drainage therapy on themselves, there are people that exist like you. You're in North Carolina, is it,
Yeah.
Tom?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's right.
Okay, so he's in North Carolina. For anybody who's in North Carolina, lucky you. Uh, him and Danielle. So
That's right. Yeah, I
if
need to shout out to Danielle Valores for bringing me to you guys, and make sure you guys take a look at the Breast Implant Health Summit, because that's going to be a wealth of information.
absolutely, and tell your practitioners to register for that. Tom's going to be one of the, I think, 40 presenters that they have lined up. It is going to be a wealth of information. So yeah, God bless Danielle because she has put her heart and soul into this along with Terry
Really
D.
has.
So yeah, they're amazing. I'm so proud of them. So okay, so there are people that exist like you. They would be body workers like yourself.
That's
Also,
right.
maybe a massage therapist that specializes in lymphatic drainage. Is that somebody else who they could go to?
That's right. So you can also have physical therapists or occupational therapists, or osteopaths, or somebody who's trained. Those folks are generally the ones who are going to provide that kind of service, who know how to do lymph work. And there's all sorts of different types of schools of thought around lymph, and all of them have something great about them. So
Awesome. All right. So, what can you show me today that maybe our viewers, if we could start with breast implant illness stuff. So, like if
right.
someone's had an explant, what is a simple routine that they could maybe start with right out the gate?
So the biggest thing you want to make sure of is that you have the larger pathways open. So the larger lymphatic pathways, you can think of like there's points on the body where things drain to, almost like a gutter system on a house. So water is flowing from one part, but it's all converging and flowing to another part. For instance, almost everything, like if we divide our body up and make this line right through the center here, down to about our belly button and go over, all of this area pretty much is going to flow right into what's called the axillary or your armpit.
Right.
Okay. This is one major point that's important. Another major point that's important is right here at the collarbone. So if you go and you find your collarbone, that big bony thing right there, and you go towards the center here, and you're going to bump into this little muscle. But if you think about it and just think about this one little point right here, this is another major drainage point for the body. So right here and right here.
Okay.
So almost everything. Do you have a question?
Is that on both sides?
On both sides, yes.
Okay.
The right and the left side, same.
Okay.
So, and I'll just talk about this side right now, but you can assume everything that I'm doing on the right side you can do for the left side.
Okay. Fair enough.
So if I go up into my armpit here and I just kind of reach around that muscle, which is pec major, that big muscle there, and I gently and very gently kind of pump my fingers up this way in the direction of my collarbone, right through here. So, and you'll feel sometimes some density through there. Now, this touch that I'm using to do this is very light.
I feel like I'm digging into my armpit. I'm probably too rough.
There's no digging here. So the touch is very light. You're going to sink lightly into the skin. So it's a very mindful touch. So you really have to kind of be connected to yourself to be able to do this, which I think is also part of like a good thing for folks who have had surgery. I've also had several surgeries, and you start to disassociate from different parts of your body because of it. You're like, I don't want to pay attention to that part of my body. So you have to kind of reconnect yourself, and you touching yourself in those places can be part of that reconnection. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So if you take your hand, and I've got my hand kind of hooked a little bit like this.
Okay.
Like a C, and I come up underneath, and I'm just pressing very gently and trying to relax my shoulder here. And kind of gently pump that up into the collarbone.
Okay. And so in this area, is it better not to have like the bra and is it better if you can do it where there's nothing?
If you can do this with just a loose shirt on or nothing on at all, then you're going to be in better shape because you don't want anything squeezing on you.
Okay.
The lymph follows through the surface. So it's going from the surface of the skin and draining deep into this area.
Okay.
So we're going to the point to where it drains to, and we're getting that to start to open.
Okay.
So it's like if you had the end, like a tube of toothpaste, and we're going to the end of the tube of toothpaste where everything comes out, and we're making sure that's open. So then we can go through the rest of the tube and kind of gently work on it to where the rest of it comes out. So
that makes sense, rather than starting and then ending where if it's not open here, then because you want it to be open here first if you're going to drain to that area. Okay, that makes sense.
Nothing else, so then nothing else is going to drain, right?
Right. Okay.
So then we go. Thank you for saying that, because that's like a really important thing. So, and after that, I want you to go up here, go right along the bone here, and I want you to just gently drag the skin. Just feel your fingers sink into that tissue and drag the skin. Use like the flat part of your fingers right here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And just let it sink in and drag that skin into the collarbone. So I want you to have more your fingers there. There you go.
Okay.
So gentle. It should feel very subtle and nice. Most of the lymph is in the surface of the skin, about 70% of it. And if we press too hard, the lymphatic, the little collectors that take in the fluid, they don't open.
Okay.
So we got to be really gentle with them or they're not going to open.
So you're going this way into the collarbone there?
So now drag it into the corner, almost like you're going towards your neck.
Okay, so I'm going toward my neck this way.
You're going towards the center, right? So you're starting here
And then coming in.
and going in like this.
See, I'm a good person to teach because I'm not the not the quickest.
So
I can do it, you can do it, ladies.
right, yeah. So okay, so those are the two major points.
Okay, question.
Maybe, yeah.
So would I want to do this side, here, and here, or would I want to do this side here and then this side here?
Yes. So you'll do everything. You'll open your armpits. You can open your neck first and then open your armpits,
Okay.
or open your armpits and then your neck.
Okay.
So it's taught either way. The way I learned it, actually, you go to your neck and then your armpits. But I think, either way is kind of
Okay.
fun.
Perfect.
Okay. So now there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So those are the two major points that we open first.
Okay.
And I kind of want to talk a little bit about how your body is personally, how somebody's body is, and whether or not they're ready to do a lot of drainage or maybe just a little bit.
Okay.
Because one of my instructors, I remember, told me, they were like, well, sometimes the best result is that somebody doesn't feel like anything happened at all.
I think that's important because I feel like everyone's going to be waiting for this, oh, I feel so different, or I feel.
That's right. Yeah. But no, not necessarily. And sometimes that's best, because if you do too much, it's too much of a load on the system.
Okay.
And to gauge whether or not it's too much for you isn't an exact science. So I don't have like a big answer for that, but I can tell you what I understand. How I work it when I'm working with a client. If somebody comes to me and they have achy joints from head to toe and they're post-surgical, they've got a lot going on. So it's not going to be appropriate for me to do a ton of lymphatic drainage on them. What I need to do is make sure the pathways are open so their body can really just kind of get the engine moving.
Gotcha. And kind of let it do it at its own pace.
That's right. Because if you push too much, you don't want to push a system further than it can handle. I mean, some folks, you'll work on a little bit and they'll feel like they got hit by a Mack truck, 3-4 hours later.
Right.
And it's like, well, we just opened some serious pathways that were really blocked. And, and then I'll have some folks, they don't feel anything at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's big for our breast implant community because
that's right.
They a lot of times don't handle the toxins and the toxic load very well at all. So
that's right.
Slow for them. I feel like almost for most of them, opening the pathways first is probably the way to go, and then letting their body do its own thing in its own time is best to start with, I would imagine.
I would agree. So yeah, you want to open the pathways, and then maybe a couple of days later, then you can start doing other larger work. So let's get into that a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So if you look at your chest here, there's a pathway right here at the top that goes from the inside quarter of your breast up to this collarbone area.
Okay.
This, if you were to like start at your nipple and look at it as a clock, this portion right here is what drains into this area. Everything else drains into your armpit.
Okay.
So 75% of the breast is going to drain pretty much into the armpit under normal circumstances.
Right.
And 25% will usually drain up, and there's some that drain other places and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's kind of too much in the weeds to worry about. But that's for all you people listening who really, really know this stuff, just so you know, we know what we're doing, right? So, okay. So on the side of the breast here, right next to the rib cage, there's some lymph nodes right in the breast. They're called paramammary nodes.
Okay.
So these nodes here drain up into the armpit. So remember, we're starting at the end of the tube of toothpaste, which is in here, and then we're going to go to the side and go up. And again, you're just taking the skin and dragging it. Right? Like you're not even putting enough pressure to really touch your rib cage. Like this is just, you're taking the skin and just dragging it.
Okay. And here I can feel like I should absolutely not have this shirt on because I'm just basically touching my shirt. So I really recommend not wearing anything tight fitting. And if you can do it without any clothes at all, I would say that's probably best.
Yeah, that's best.
Yeah.
So we have that goes up through here. Now, a lot of women post surgically, they're going to have the anchor scar, or they'll have a lower incision here, but usually there's an anchor scar. So, and for those of you who don't know what an anchor scar is, it's when there's a scar, there's an incision from the nipple down to the base of the breast, and then one that's horizontal going on a curve right at the base of the breast here.
Yeah. For our women who have had just an explant, they usually, where am I? They usually have this one. You call that the anchor scar?
Well, an anchor scar is shaped like an anchor. So there's one down from the nipple, and then there's one across like that.
Okay, so if they had a lift, they typically have the anchor scar. If it was explant only, it would just be the underneath.
Right, depending on the surgeon, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so under normal circumstances, everything's going to flow from the base of the breast here into the armpit. Okay. So, and even everything from here on the inside here is going to circle around this way into the armpit. And everything up top, up here, is going to go into the armpit this way. So you'll use essentially the same technique where you'll just take the skin and you're going to slowly drag it towards the area and let it go.
So up into here?
So you're going to go around the curve, like up underneath here.
Okay.
So you're going to drag the skin, and then release it, and then drag it again, and then release it.
Drag it back. You want to just drag it in the one direction this way.
Dragging it in the one
Okay.
direction because it's going this way. So you don't want to drag it back and forth. You're just going one way.
Okay, gotcha. And then do that on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that on both sides.
And how long do you want to do each of these things? Is there a time frame or?
You don't have to do it much.
Okay.
You just want to make sure if you can sink your fingers nice and lightly into the skin, into the very top portion of the skin, and get that moving, then you don't have to do it very long at all. Okay. Sometimes you might do 4 or 5 passes in one area.
Okay.
And that's it. And, sometimes 1 or 2. And after you do a pass in an area, you can always go back to your armpit and just kind of open this back up again and making sure that's open.
Okay. Great. All right. Awesome. So that's what you would recommend for the women who've had the explant, correct?
Well, women who've had the explant or even haven't had the explant.
Okay.
So you can, that's kind of a basic breast lymphatic drainage pattern that you're trying to encourage. So these patterns exist in the body, and we're encouraging these patterns. So sometimes there's stagnant fluid there that we work with and we're just trying to get that to move.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
So I'm only wondering, so like women who haven't had implants or an explant could do that just for health and movement
That's
and
right.
okay. So, but I'm wondering what your feelings are on women who have implants, are sick, haven't explanted. Do you recommend doing that, or do you feel that that toxic load would be, again, then definitely too much for them to handle?
It depends. I think there's some like areas that are kind of hard to sort out, and maybe there's not enough knowledge around them yet.
Mhm.
Like for instance, if you look at women with textured implants, I mean, right? So the texture on the implants slough off into the lymphatic system, right? So I don't have a good straight answer on like if it's best to leave that alone and wait till post surgery to push that or
Mhm.
not.
You
I
might
think that you
be
can encourage lymph in other areas,
Mhm.
but it's like plumbing. You can work on somebody's neck and they'll feel it in their calf.
Right. It's
So
amazing how our whole body is just
right,
connected. Yeah, in that way.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. So just because of time,
Hmm.
um, somebody who's watching hasn't had an explant, isn't into breasts at all. How about overall immune? I don't know if you want to say boosting or immune
Yeah,
health.
yeah. So,
Because immunity is such a huge thing right now with the whole COVID pandemic going on, and so somebody who really is just overall wellness. Is there something that they could be doing?
well, the training that I got, the study that it was the Chicley Institute is where I got uh, most of my lymphatic training. And he says that there is a 30% boost in the immune system after a lymphatic drainage. So
Wow.
that's a big boost. And I'm not saying that's the best number available. That's like one thing that I've seen.
Mhm.
So I'm always skeptical of everything, but I do also think that it gives a really good boost to the immune system because the lymphatic system is a major part of the immune system. So you create circulation where there's stagnation, and you're going to fare better.
Awesome. Okay. So what could somebody do if you feel a cold coming on, or even if you just really want to, prevent something?
Good question. Let's do the face. Okay,
Okay.
so this won't take too long. So we already know our touch. So we're doing just skin, right? So we've already opened up our pathways here. So we've gone along the collarbones here. So
Mhm.
you'll feel blocked ears or you'll feel sinus pressure. And what I'll do, you'll make, the international symbol for I'm choking. So don't do this in public. So nobody gives you the Heimlich. So you take this and put your finger pads on the sides of your neck here, and you're going to drag that skin towards those points. And you can feel, usually the person can feel even some opening of their ears or opening of their throat. If you have that tickle in your throat that won't go away, sometimes it's as simple as putting your hand where that tickle is and dragging that skin towards that point.
I definitely feel something. I'm always clogged in my ears. I mean, ever since my implants, so that never kind of went away. So I feel like maybe I should do this all day, every day.
So there's also points right behind the ears. If you can
Okay.
see past my beard here,
Yeah.
but underneath the jaw. So you can go forward to the jaw and just kind of go at your ears there and drag the skin down. You should feel maybe your ears move just slightly. As
A little bit.
you're dragging the skin down, it feels nice. But this is a very light touch. You're moving water you know.
I like that one.
So that's a good one. So
Mhm.
also right on your cheeks here, there's these glands, your salivary glands. So they have a tendency to get clogged sometimes, or you'll get puffy through here. So that's another place. You can take it right here, making the Home Alone scream here, and kind of relax your jaw and move this towards, moving it towards the angle of your jaw. And anytime you're always dragging the skin, when you're done, you're going to release and you're going to come back. So you're not going to move it around like you see my
Right.
forearm. So you're not going to move it like this. You're going to move it and then release, and then move it and then release.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
That makes sense.
Because you're moving water through these little beads,
Right.
bead-like valves inside of the lymphatic vessels.
Right. I
If
think
you
of
move
it
them
like,
back and forth, it doesn't work.
when I used to work in acute rehab as an OT assistant, and we would do retrograde massage for somebody who had pitting edema, and you were just, I mean, that was, you could see the fluid moving, so you knew that there was fluid here. It's not as much, you can't feel it necessarily, but it's
Right.
there. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So,
Okay. So those are all good for immune boosting.
mhm. And you can, think of it, it makes intuitive sense, but you go through this area here, kind of at the angle of your nose toward with that same technique, and kind of pulling the sides of your
That would be for the sinus.
this way.
I must really like you because I never touch my face because of my skin issues, but I'm actually
This this, it's a pretty good, it can help acne. So,
okay.
or help skin issues, whatever they might be, because anytime you're bringing fluid through, then you're reducing stagnation, so you're going to help the body.
It's always a good thing.
All right.
Okay, so thank you so much. I hope that that was helpful. I'm hoping that the viewers were doing it with us, and if you guys are watching, let us know what you like, don't like. If you're watching the replay, let us know what you enjoyed. So thank you, thank you, thank you.